Hi guys, it's Chris calling. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you guys have returned since my last video, thank you very much. And if you guys are new here, then please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. So after Lorene's historic victory in Liverpool this year, it was announced that there were 4 cities in contention to host the Eurovision 2024 contest in Sweden. And these cities were Stockholm, Malmö, Gothenburg, and I'm going to say this one wrong. Örnsköldsvik? Örnsköldsvik? Let me know in the comments if I'm saying that wrong. I probably am. After days of speculation, it was finally announced that the host city of Eurovision 2024 is Malmö. We know that wherever Sweden is going to hold Eurovision, it's going to be amazing. They've done this. In fact, Sweden has won the Eurovision Song Contest 7 times now. They're drawing with Ireland for the most number of victories ever in Eurovision, which, I'm not being funny, but that's something amazing. We feel like Sweden are basically leading the way in modern Eurovision this year. They've done this so many times, and they've got even repeat artists like Loreen coming back and winning again. That's how amazing they are in Eurovision. And Sweden take Eurovision seriously. Like, you can tell because they've won it so many times and they know how to do a good job at hosting and sending entries. Couldn't be more happy that we're going back to Sweden personally. We're guaranteed a great contest next year and I just can't wait. You know SVT are going to put on such a great show. So the Eurovision Song Contest is going to be held in Malmo Arena, which held the 2013 Eurovision Song Contest, as well as a variety of different heats and finals for the Melodifestivalen, which is the Swedish national final for Eurovision. So the Malmo Arena is a little bit bigger than the M&S Bank Arena in Liverpool this year, which is great news because more fans are going to be able to go and watch the contest next year. So it came out in a statement that Malmo was actually the only realistic option for Eurovision in the end. So a fan favourite was the Friends Arena in Stockholm, which can hold about 60,000 fans, but it's recently come to the surface that Taylor Swift has some tour dates there next May. The EBU has to take over the venue about 6 to 8 weeks before the contest to start building the stage and the set and the lighting rig. So it just wasn't realistic. Like I say, you've got a huge pop star and then you've got a major concert. I think the times overlapped, so it wouldn't be possible. You've got another few arenas in Stockholm, like the Globen Avicii Arena, which was used for Eurovision in 2016. But unfortunately that's going to be under renovation next year, so that couldn't be used. And then the only other one was the Tele2 Arena in Stockholm, which is also another huge arena, can hold about 60,000 fans, but that's actually one of the arenas occupied by the local football teams. They also have some of their tournaments in April and May next year, so again that kind of overlaps with the Eurovision time frame. It was also announced this idea of a temporary arena, but then you had politicians who weren't necessarily happy with that idea because it wouldn't be very cost effective. So it was a bit sad really, because I know that Stockholm is such a great city and such a great Eurovision host city, but not this time. Okay, our next city that was in the contention to host was, again, I'm going to say this wrong, Örnsköldsvik. So yes, that was one of the candidates to host next year, but it turns out that it's very, very difficult to get there. It's in the far north of Sweden, and just looking on some on the journey times, it can be like 10 hours on a train, and they only have about 50 hotel rooms. So like I said, I think it would have been a very difficult Eurovision to get to, but I know as Eurovision fans would have got there one way or another. And then that just leaves Malmö and Gothenburg. So Gothenburg was a real fan favourite as well. They have a much older stadium called the Scandinavium, which the only big arena in Gothenburg which was planned to host for Eurovision. However, because of the shape of the roof, it kind of like, it dips down. It's been said that it won't be able to hold the lighting rig that is required for today's modern Eurovision. So again, that's a shame because I've heard so many great things about Gothenburg as a city. You need a Eurovision venue that is going to withstand the Eurovision demands, you know, and the technical demands of Eurovision. And that leaves us with Malmö, and like I say, going through these host cities, it just makes sense. The Malmö Arena is already there. So it's been announced we are going to Malmö next year. All of the hotel rooms are pretty much booked up already, but that's okay. And you know why? Because we've got the Öresund Bridge, which is right next to Malmö, that connects Sweden and Denmark. So only a 20-minute train ride from Malmö is Copenhagen. So, like I say, there are loads of hotel rooms available in Copenhagen, and it's got so much in the city to do. You've got Tivoli Gardens. It's such a vibrant city, Copenhagen. So I feel like a lot of Eurovision fans, including myself, will probably stay in Copenhagen and then commute via the train. From Eurovision in 2013, I've only heard good things about Malmö. There's a ton of things for us Eurovision fans to be doing. There's of course going to be the Eurovision Village. And at the time that Eurovision is on, there's just going to be a whole vibe there. It's going to be the most amazing atmosphere, a bit like Liverpool was this year. But just a few of the things to mention that you can do in Malmö. They have of course, they've got the Öresund Bridge, which connects you by a 20-minute train ride to the capital of Denmark. Picturing the skyline of Malmö, you have only the second tallest building in Europe, which is called the Turning Torso. It's the highest residential building in Sweden. And you can go up to that and, like I say, take your pictures and just have a great time. And you can also visit St. Peter's Church and the little square as well. There are going to be a tons of things to do in Malmö, and like I say, if Malmö isn't for you, Copenhagen is just across the bridge, so it's going to be the most amazing time. It's almost going to be a Eurovision hosted by two countries. And as I've said before, Sweden know what they're doing by now with this contest. It's the 7th time they would have hosted now, and you know that SVT is going to put on a spectacular show. How amazing that we are returning back to Eurovision in Sweden on ABBA's 50th anniversary. You literally couldn't write it. That is absolutely amazing. Obviously, it's a shame that ABBA aren't going to be there in person, but you never know, they might make a last-minute appearance. To celebrate Malmö hosting Eurovision 2024 next year and the host city being revealed, stay tuned for my next video where I'm going to be reacting to my 5 favourite Swedish entries of all time. As always guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I'll really look forward to seeing you next time. And if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.